when it comes to the best of entertainment, the best of news, the best of information, something that is educative. You're right here at the best place to see that. It's KAFTAN TV. You know what? Increase the volume. Keep watching. Don't touch the dial, okay?
Welcome back. This is still our special Nigerian Independence Anniversary telecast. Now we'll head into a discussion now on Nigeria's quest so far on the political and economic landscape since 1960, October 1st, till date. We've been joined via call now by Dr. Law Mefor. He's a social scientist and a policy analyst. Good morning, Dr. Law.
Yeah, good morning, famous. Good morning, Nigerians. Happy Independence Anniversary.
Wish you same, sir. All right, so let's start with President Bola Ahmed's speech before we delve into, the historical perspective. What did you make of the address this morning, and what do you think it does for Nigerians?
Excuse me. Yeah, I have, read the speech, and I really don't know what to make out of it, because the speech actually fell short of my personal expectations. I had expected to hear a remarkable policy shift. I didn't see any. They became all their promises. He didn't address the demand or demands of labor. What he said about 25,000 naira added to low-grade workers, to me is fake. And that is not a new minimum wage, because it is for 6 months. What happens after 6 months is suspended. That is what it means. So it means we didn't even address the issue of a new minimum wage. And if you look at it, that is one of the major demands of NLC.
Yes.
And the president didn't address the new minimum wage. Then the issue of palliatives to cushion the impact of the deteriorating economy. I didn't see anything. So as I am concerned, he talked about CNG compliant buses. He said that a long time ago. Well, one would have expected to hear that those buses have arrived in Nigeria. But there's nothing like that. So it's still a matter of promise. We had expected to hear from the concrete in that direction, the number of buses ordered from where, when they are arriving in Nigeria, how they will be deployed, and all that. I didn't see that. Didn't see. So then he talked about CNG kits, that will be installed in Nigeria, to be brought in, yet to be brought in. So it's all promised. And I just don't, see anything to really take away from his speech. It's still the same old ritualistic redundancy, Hulu ritual, as far as I am concerned, because he should address some fundamentals. And yes, he tried to offer Nigerians hope, but I don't think the reiteration of the hope is what Nigerians expected. Nigerians would want to hear in concrete terms what should be done, plans on ground to address insecurity and all that. We know that the security situation has not improved since the president came. And, the killing spree, kidnapping spree, and all that have continued around the country. In some parts of the country, insecurity actually worsened, like in the southeast, and around the country. So maybe we can say southwest, and maybe south, relatively peaceful. But the remaining 4 regions, southeast, middle belt, northwest, northeast, they are still boiling. They are still boiling. Fresh kidnappings going on, and they want still in captivity. Leah Sharibu and others. And new ones are being taken away. So, of course, you are aware of the brawl between the federal government and the Zamfara government,
But Dr. Law, Dr. Law.
Yes, I'm here.
Yes, but I'd like to get your thoughts on the trajectory since 1960 to date. I know our democracy, the one that has been sustained, pretty much began in 1999. But across the years, what would you say, or where would you say we are politically and economically speaking?
Well, for me, Nigeria hasn't made much progress on her journey into full nationhood. It's still an acceptable fact that the country, Nigeria is still a country and not yet a nation. Obasanjo said so, and good luck more recently also repeated the same thing, that Nigeria is still a country and not yet a nation. And until we get there, until we really become a nation, I wouldn't really say that we have achieved anything, because I'm not seeing any serious movement towards the nationhood. We started out as a federation, a federalism, and the military came in and reversed everything and imposed the unitary system on a clearly federal environment. And since that happened in 1957, the country has been struggling. Everything has been concentrated on the center, and the Nigerian Constitution, top heavy. You will see about 68 items on the exclusive list, and about 36 on the concurrent list. And when you say concurrent, what that means is that the federal government also has the right to legislate on items you find on the concurrent list. And it doesn't stop there. The Constitution also says that where there is conflict between the legislation of the states and that of the federal government, that of the state will give way to the one made by the federal government. What that means is I don't have anything residual for the states. That is a clear definition of the unitary system. So nothing really left for the states. And you need to return the country to a federation, a federal system, to enable the states have the kind of powers that the regions, the four regions enjoyed before the Civil War that broke out in 1967. They need to really return to those basics. And from economic perspective, the old Eastern region economy under Michael Ihonokara Obama as premier was peer-reviewed as the fastest growing economy, at least in Africa. Peer-reviewed. It wasn't just a whimsical submission by anybody. And the economy of the Western region under Chief Obafemi Awolowo was growing at the same pace. The Western region introduced television, color television, even before some countries in Europe. This will show you how federalism was working in Nigeria. And you come to the north under Ahmadu Bello, the governor of Sokoto. The northern economy was really,
Dr. Law,
moving.
Dr. Law.
So all these things were reversed. And we're just relying on the crude oil we are selling. We're not exporting anything.
All right.
Our export up to now is up to 75% crude oil.
All right, Dr. Law. From what you described, are you saying that the calls for restructuring, it's not really about something new, it's about going to what we used to, what was obtainable in the past?
That is it. People say they don't know what restructuring means. I've just told you what restructuring is.
So why do you,
Nigeria to federalism.
So why did you think the change happened if it was working so well?
It happened because of the Civil War. When the Civil War broke out, the military took over government, and they changed the federalism to a unitary system. You know, that is their nature, what we call command structure. You know, so they don't share power. You have a head of state, and that is what it is. You know, other military governors, they are as appointees of the head of state, and he removes them. And of course, the federal government under the military ruled by decrees, and the states made the edict. When you understand the difference between a decree and an edict, you will understand that an edict is just a kind of bylaw. You know, it's kind of bylaw from the main law. It's not what you find in a federal system. In a federal system, the federating unit should have the power to make their own laws for their own people. That is what it is. But they don't have that. And that is exactly what the military translated into the 1999 Constitution. And all the constitutions midwifed by the military, 1979 Constitution, that one, the one done by Abacha, they are all unitary constitutions. Unitary in the sense that you don't have residual powers, you know, that should be exclusive to states where federal government shouldn't come in. You don't have that. Federal government is in everything, from agriculture, education, you know, defense, everything, foreign affairs. You know, it's not like that. It's not what it should be. Federal government should have, you know, a defined area of influence, and federating units, in this case, the states should also have their own defined areas where they should, you know, be dealing with without the federal government interfering. So you can now see that the federal government is the one running everything, and that is why we are where we are. The economy of the states can really grow well because many of the powers required to develop the states are tied to the federal powers. You know, so if you look at the issue of the solid minerals, if the states have access to their solid minerals, what you find as banditry wouldn't have found its way in Nigeria, because what is happening in places like Zamfara is caused by gold rush. You know, because what you find there in KB and all other places is because the solid minerals of those states are now illegally being mined. Federal government is not addressing, you know, those things. So that's why we are saying return the powers to the federating units so that they will have access to their natural resources, to their life, to their existence, to their security.
All right. Do you think we're in the process of that now already? With some bills or the, the amendment of the Constitution, the issue of electricity being removed from the executive list, the control of correctional centers, and some other such issues. Do you think that this is something that can happen without a big hurrah or a big bold move, so to speak? Just steady constitutional amendments.
Yes, those are moves towards federalism. Yes, commendably so. But they are too few. You know, the gestures are too few. For example, the issue of ports. You know, ports, airports, seaports, they are still under the control of the federal government. The states should be able to build their own ports. They should. But if you want to build an airport now, you can't operate even a local airport without approval of the Federal Aviation Authority, the Federal Ministry of Aviation. That's the problem here. But you know, they don't run a federal system that way. Take, for example, a place like Anambra that has a channel to the sea that is less than 20 nautical miles should have the power to build its own airport. The able to build an international airport and link up directly with the world. They can't do that without federal approval. That is where the problem is. So everything now is concentrated on the center, and the federal government is not in a position to take care of the growing needs. The states must come clean and start working to take care of their own people. States can do that. So if the power to develop the states, develop the regions, are still tied to the apron strings of the federal government, you need to amend the constitution to address that. You need to do something about state police. You need to do something about federal about the community police. These are basic requirements of the federal system of government. It's not a mere proposal. Like you have about 26 countries of the world that run federal system of government. Only Nigeria runs a centralized police system. That is why you have this level of insecurity.
All right.
So security
just a question there, Dr. Law. What do you make of the concerns that people have in terms of expectations that the governors, who are already quite powerful in their states, might misuse these powers? There's always that worry. Is there any validity to
well,
that?
you see, yes, the fear is valid. You have a bunch of power-drunk, individuals who and that is the problem. When you have a recruitment process that is monetized, criminalized, and you just cannot ensure integrity of the people who emerge as leaders at all levels. And without integrity, the people will certainly suffer. That is the fear being expressed by people, that these power-drunk governors will abuse state police. I agree. But my people would say, do we take because somebody will be shot and not go to battle that is inevitable? We must, if you weigh the options, the level of insecurity we are experiencing, are we going to allow it to go on like that?
All right, let me cut in quickly there. All you said now, does it mean at the end of the day, without people with integrity, without people who have that conscience or moral conscience, that whatever system or whatever pattern or organizations that we might build, it might not work? Is it absolutely necessary, or is there no alternative where the system makes the leaders to become automatically accountable?
Yeah, you see, theoretically, what you are saying is possible, but then you see, the laws you have are to be implemented by men. The Constitution cannot address everything. You expect that you should have an independent judiciary, fair-minded judges who will offer justice. But you see that justice is almost becoming for sale in Nigeria. That's just the truth. Justice has gone so bad in our experience that you see judges, they will just abandon substantial justice and dwell on technicality. You have a presidential election, you have no idea of who won, who lost, because of technicality. The judges, rather than look at the papers, look at the figures, calculate the figures, who won, what you call valid vote. We have no idea now. You and I, Nigerians, have no idea of the actual valid votes, cast during the 2023 presidential election, because the judges refused to consider that. They instead, dwelt on technicalities that they didn't file this in time, they didn't file this out of time, and is that the issue? Compel INEC to give you the papers with which they declared President Tinubu the winner. Then you do the calculation yourself and see if Tinubu actually won. Now, Tinubu himself doesn't know, whether or not he actually won, because he was not privy to the computations, the calculations done by INEC. And they did it was such a shoddy job. They abandoned the IREF They abandoned the Section 64, subsection 4 of the Electoral Act 2022 that says you have to upload results from a polling unit. When it came to presidential election, they refused to do that. And if you see what is happening in all the tribunals across the country, you will see that INEC did a very terrible job. If otherwise, you will not have this number of victories being upturned in Nigeria. The number of victories being upturned at all levels: governorship, House of Reps, House of Assembly, Senate. It's approaching the results that are affected now. Is approaching 30 to 40%. You know, if INEC did the job they were asked to do, upload this result from polling units, and you know everybody will calculate and see who won.
Dr. No, just a question. Just a question. You predicted that perhaps about 40% of these elections have been overturned. In the cases where there is some sort of blame on how the conduct of the election went, do you think there should be some new aspect or dimension to this where INEC takes responsibility in some way? Because it seems as though even when elections are overturned, there is no real call for answers from whatever the faults or problems might have been.
You see, that is where the problem is. INEC is not yet what INEC should be, an independent electoral commission. Should be independent indeed, and not only independent, but also accountable. They must, if you look at our electoral laws now, INEC is not duty bound to explain anything to the courts. It is the litigants that are expected to prove that INEC didn't do their work. It ought not to be so. It ought not to be so. INEC must prove to the judiciary that they did their work, in substantial compliance with the extant rules, their own guidelines, Electoral Act, and ultimately the 1999 Constitution, which is the ground norm. But it's not what happened. So, in other words, before you even take your case to the tribunal, INEC is not there watching you, providing obstacles, hurdles. They won't even give you materials. They will so delay you in way and manner that you will not be able to really get access to the results and to materials to enable you even determine how to approach your case. And that was what happened in the presidential election petition. It's very clear. You can see that before, even after paying, after paying for those documents, INEC still found reasons not to release those documents in good time, and they affected everything. So what I believe is, if you really want to be serious, electoral offenders, including INEC officials, that deliberately manipulated the results, should be in jail. That's the irreducible minimum. You cannot deliberately announce somebody who didn't win the winner, and the law is just there, silent on it. So we need to get back to the drawing board, and ensure that victory is based on who won, based on lawful votes, as determined by the courts. Simple. Anything outside that is not victory. You cannot go and declare somebody a winner because of technicalities. Come to the worst. If a winner is disqualified based on certain technicalities, you order a rerun between the second and third runner-up. You order a rerun, a run-off or a rerun completely, removing the person that is disqualified. You don't just go and announce the second person the winner. That's the truth. When you do so, you disenfranchise all the people that voted for that winner that was disqualified. So our electoral laws are just a sham. They are not addressing the real issue. For example, I mentioned Section 64, subsection 4 of the Electoral Act 2022. It should be made mandatory, because because look at what the tribunal, the presidential election petition court said in their judgment, that there is no place in the Electoral Act that makes it compulsory that INEC must upload the results. So it becomes optional. If that is true, indeed true, we will soon hear from the Supreme Court whether that is true or not. Then we need to amend that clause to make it mandatory. If we know where INEC enjoys that discretionary power to decide to upload and not to upload, we will remove it.
All right.
Let this thing mandatory, that they must upload results from polling units before they announce.
All right, Dr. Love.
It's simple.
Right.
This is not rocket science.
All right, Dr. Love.
You know, I don't know what is wrong with us as a people.
All right, Dr. Love, thank you very much. That suggestion in particular goes back to my earlier question of if it is absolutely necessary to have people of integrity, but in your recommendation now, the law would mandate that it must be done. So there's no option or no leeway to do as one.
It must not be discretionary. It has to be mandatory that you must upload results from polling units before you announce the results.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Dr. Law. It's been great
thank you
for calling in. I hope you have a pleasant day and you celebrate even on the low key as the government is doing this time around.
Oh yeah, let's celebrate. At least we are still a country. The country hasn't fully failed yet, so we pray it doesn't fail.
Amen.
Ultimately, but then the leadership must buckle up because we are taking so much for granted. Nigeria has all the indicators of what we call the failing state, and if you allow these things to fester, then the country may fail, and we don't want Nigeria to fail.
No, we don't.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for calling in. Thank you, Dr. Law.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, that's how we end this segment of the program. We've been dealing with the political and economic landscape of the nation from October 1st, 1960, all the way till today, October 1st, 2023, 63 years later. So we'll take a short break now, and when we return, we'll delve into the security aspect of the nation, particularly within our 63 years. What do we have to examine? What do we have to fix and look forward to as the country heads into another year of existence? Stay with us, we'll be back soon. Right now, I've been joined in the studio by Dr. Yahuza Getso. He is a security intelligence and investigation expert. He's also the CEO Center for Security Intelligence Research and Development, Abuja. He joins me now to do some justice to the security aspect of the issues of Nigeria, particularly from independence, that is October 1st, 1960 till date. Good morning and welcome to the program, sir.
Good morning, Ahmadine. Good morning, viewers.
Happy Independence.
Good to have you. Happy Independence as well,
welcome,
to some
sir.
extent.
Welcome, sir. Why do you say to some extent?
Because, you know, we are doing two things at a time. We are mourning and we are being happy. So,
how are we mourning?
It is just like a system of, when you have a fixed system, an agreeable and acceptable system of reward and punishment. So we are punishing ourselves and we are also receiving the reward. So we have reward from those grandparents who laid the foundation after the independence, and then we have the punishment from those aftermath, that is the leaders that follow, who never have the nation in their mind to some extent, whereas the masses are complaining. Many Nigerians, more than 80 to 90% of Nigerians are not getting 1 square meal nowadays. So what are we celebrating to some extent? But at the same time, if we look on the other hand, a number of increase in institutions, increase in probably infrastructure, review of some constitutional related issues, democratic days, the military interventions, promotion by even some military head of states, as well as some of the chief of army staffs, because we can never forget the revolution being made by Lieutenant General Tukur Burate in the Nigerian Army, as well as what Sadiq and Air Marshal Sadiq and other officers done in the military cycle. As well, we also can't forget how much agriculture have fetched. And at the same time, we have to look at the export and import, and then we have to look at the performance of agriculture and the issues around religious and geographical, as well as the political bigotry. And we have to also look at the mourning the challenges of instability in our economy, whereby dollar keep moving between 2015 to now, between 300 to 400 to 500 to 600 to 700. So the dollar is kind of sneezing against naira. So anytime it says naira will go down, naira will go down, and anytime naira goes down, dollar moves up. Then the what do you call it, the provisions and other essential commodities will be prices will rise, and then it's more challenges. And then if you look at our inability to stabilize the oil sector, the oil industry, whereby we cannot even fix our refineries. We had a government, one of the governments between 1960 to date, that promised that it is going to fix the refineries in 6 months, and at the same time they are going to initiate more new refineries. All right,
just a moment. I want to really dwell on the oil issue, but let me let our viewers know that our phone lines are open, so you can call in to join the conversation or ask questions. Let's talk about the aspect of oil theft. There seems to be some level of impotence being attached to what the government can do in fixing that problem. We know that millions of barrels are lost. Once upon a time, about 2 years ago, I believe, the UBA president, Mr. Tony Elumelu, cried out that millions of barrels were being stolen on a daily basis. And a lot of experts, a lot of people from the region have said that it's almost next to impossible for this large-scale amount of theft to happen without the authorities being aware. And now we even have the government paying millions, large sums to private security bodies to protect these. And yet Nigeria is supposed to boast of some of the strongest military, particularly in West Africa. What do you think is going on there, and why does it seem such a grand deal to protect our oil?
Well, I think there are 5 things to look into, which we need to outline and then probably look at them one after the other. One, the quality of the leadership at the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation, now NNPC, whatever they change the name. We have had so many poor leadership, poor quality of the leadership, and then the corruption saga within the combined joint task force of the military, the Air Force, the Nigerian Army, Nigerian Air Force, Nigerian Navy, and as well as the DSS, and all other incorporated and engaged private security firms that have been engaged to deal with the situation. And number 4, there is issues around regional bigotry, whereby some people assumed that it does not belong to the nation, but rather it belongs to some extent to some individuals. And these individuals, I want every listener and every viewer to be fair to me. These individuals, and I'm not referring to Niger Deltans, who are the origins, or who are the indigenous people of that environment. No, it's a combined psychopathy, it's a combined hypocrisy, it's a combined institutional abuse, it's a combined impunity. You have combination of Hausa, you have combination of Yoruba, you have combination of Fulani from Adamawa, from Taraba, you have other tribes from some other part of Borno, Gombe, Adamawa, Enugu, Ebonyi, Bayelsa, and all. It is just like a cycle of cabals or a cycle of criminals in the name of owners of the economy, because they felt the economy belongs to them, so they decide how it should be, what it should be, and when it should be, and why it should be.
But how powerful is this group or entity?
Yeah, I'm going to discuss one after the other.
Okay.
And then the final one is lack of having. We never had a serious government that felt this is an important aspect of the economy, this is an important aspect of the unity, this is an important aspect of the culture, and this is an important aspect of the independence that will help Nigeria to grow, that will stabilize issue of unemployment, address issue of unemployment, stabilize crisis within the regions, stabilize our economy, stabilize agricultural productivity, and even promote the psychology and change the orientation of the Nigerian security personnel. So, looking at this, when you take them one after the other, you see that, like the question you raised, it is not all about that they cannot be kind of dismantled, or their power cannot be checked. Yes, of course, their power can be checked, but when? Only when you have a serious president, only when you have a committed president, only when you have a president that respects the rule of law, only when you have a judicial system that is operating in accordance with what it is said to be operating, only when you have the good leadership in the security agencies, that is the heads of the security agencies, when they are very serious. Because I want to tell you that no drop of oil that is being stolen or being taken away illegally without the knowledge of all this cycle that I have mentioned. So it's a kind of collaboration, partnership, combination, and they can easily be addressed. They can easily be dealt with. There is no type of crime in the world, not in Nigeria. We have the, if you cannot commend the security of operatives in Nigeria, if you cannot commend them, you cannot condemn them. Because of the environment, because of the situation, because of the
Shortly, His Excellency will be exchanging pleasantries with the dignitaries. His Excellency, the Vice President, His Excellency, the distinguished Senate President, the Lordship, the Chief Justice, and of course, the Right Honorable Speaker of the House of Representatives, Honorable Ministers of Defense and the Federal Capital Territory, the Chief of Defense Staff, Service Chiefs, Inspector General of Police,
and ask yourself, inclusive of their allowances, risk allowance, hazard allowance, whatever, put it together and review.
But does it matter even if you catch the foot soldiers, when at the end of the day you cannot trace it all the way to the top, or even move against this person? I say this because a lot of people believe that there are certain people who are untouchable in this country, even going as far as saying, referring to issues such as actions made by the last president or presidency. I remember the other day there was some argument I happened to witness, and people were referencing the CBN governors, the past CBN governors, time, saying, well, he did this, he did that, and so on. At the end of the day, it could go all the way back to President Buhari. Similarly, just recently, the resigned APC National Chairman, Abdullah, yes, he mentioned when he was asked why or who, the Senate President at the time, why he was, touted as a consensus candidate, he hinted that as a ruling party, even though he is the head of the party, he can't make such decisions alone, which hints that he was given that order or given that directive by someone above him who could only be the president. The point I'm trying to make is that people say that, well, in Nigerian history, an ex-president can never be held accountable. Even if the parties switch, even if it's an APC government and it becomes a PDP government, the PDP president will not go after the APC president, and so on and so forth. The reason I bring this up now is that even when we are aware of the people who did these things, can we really hold the people who gave the orders accountable when these foot soldiers and these people carrying these issues out are caught? Isn't that, or wouldn't that be the end of the story, like we've seen actually with some vessels that were caught in those regions trying to steal oil?
Well, if you see any vessel exposed, or if you see any pipeline exposed of the oil theft, it means that they refuse to cooperate. That's the reality. And even they cooperated on how much and how to go about it, the deal, how the deal is going to be, definitely they wouldn't have been found and even be expressed or exposed to the media. But I want to tell you, by the Nigerian constitution, by the Nigerian law, by the Nigerian legal system, by the Nigeria's arrangement, by the administration and the rule that enacted the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation and all other institutions around it, and by the law that initiated or instituted or provided the EFCC and the ICPC, or by the law that provided the Minister of Justice and Attorney General and all the other heads of the parastatals of the Nigerian judiciary. I want to tell you that by the law, we have the provision, the law can deal with anybody. Nobody is above the law. Only that the operating system, those who are operating the law, they are compromising in terms of administration. They are compromising in terms of leadership. They are compromising in terms of respect for rule of law. They are compromising in terms of interest, prioritizing personal interest. And it is not that the president, the serving president, cannot check the former president to account for ABCD, because we have seen so many checks has been made by Abubakar Abdulsalam against General Sani Abacha. Even though General Sani Abacha wasn't alive, but notwithstanding, there are a number of checks also made initially by, as presumably to be made by our administration against Goodluck Ebele Jonathan. But when most of the PDP members of the party of the Jonathan Yar'Adua Obasanjo started to sneak and also to shift and also to move and also to kind of put a blanket and open the blanket of the PDP and quickly embrace the blanket of the APC. They became the nationalists. They became one of the most respected, even though it means that issue of lack of sincerity in purpose, lack of sincerity in the mindset of our leaders, and lack of being seriousness, a lack of the commitment to the rule of law, a lack of the commitment to be law abiding. That is why we are finding it difficult to deal with Mr. A or Mr. B. How many managing directors of the NNPC have been removed? How many managing directors and head of many other parastatals that have been removed? And how many, for so many reasons, when the 1995 coup was announced, one of the 1983 coup was announced, when all the coup that happens in Nigeria, it's very clear that part of what they talk about is checking and balancing on the economy. And when we are talking of the Nigeria's economy, the stronghold of the Nigerian economy and the backbone of the Nigerian economy is that of oil and agriculture. So in the case of agriculture, people had to go to the farm, they had to plant, they had to cultivate, they had to harvest, a lot of process which involve energy and other resources. But in the case of oil, it is something that there is an organized crime. So if really we have this organized crime and we are ready to deal with it, we can deal with it. So it is very clear that these cabals or whosoever they may be, I don't believe that they are untouchable. I believe they are touchable, but only on condition, only when you have a serious government. All right, which we don't seem to have.
All right, so what would you draw, the line as regards security and economy? You mentioned two aspects, the oil and agriculture. When we have insecurity or rising insecurity, how does it affect investments and everything?
Well, it affects investment in many ways. One, the foreign investment to any nation from any other country outside the country is very, very important. And no investor will come and invest his own resources in a crisis and conflict environment. And Nigeria has been suffering from what it refused intentionally to deal with. When I say it refused, let me give a justification to my statement. All the members of the IPOB, they are detailed. They can be detailed. They can be profiled. All the members of Boko Haram, they are detailed. They can be detailed. They can be profiled. All the members of Ansaru ISWAP, all the members of kidnapping and bandits that have been disturbing northwest, north central, and part of the northeastern part of the country, they can be detailed. They can be profiled. They can be reached, and they can be dealt with. But when? Only when you have a serious government. When? Only when you have a committed government. When you have the readiness and commitment and determination. When you are ready to assess, because all these issues that we have of the security and other economic challenges, they are being promoted just because of two reasons. It is between the beneficiary and the victim. So unless you are ready to deal with the beneficiary,
so how do we know who is ready? I say this because when Nigerians voted in 2015, there was a lot of the rhetoric that this is a former military general.
Yes, who disappointed them later.
Yeah, but when they were voting, what they thought, or some of the rationale was that, well, this man is going to be tough, is going to end insecurity within a number of days, and so on and so forth. So, as a security expert, I don't know, what do you think Nigerians should be looking out for? Because what you've said now boils down to picking the right person to put in charge of your security. Otherwise, if you put someone who doesn't seem to be serious, things will just fester. What can we begin to look out for to know or to perhaps predict that this person has the right idea about security?
Well, there are several things. One, there is need to look at the background of the person. How has he fared? What were his weaknesses? To conduct a SWOT analysis on the person, on the to be given the question of the leadership of the mantle of leadership of any security agency. And that is one. Two, you need to change the orientation of the security personnel, because
you mean as the leader or as the people?
Both. Okay. From the bottom to top and from the top to bottom.
Okay.
Because the orientation has been rotten by corruption, has been rotten by being unpatriotic, has been rotten by compromises, has been rotten by impunity, has been rotten by political inclusiveness, has been rotten by poor participation or poor management of the institutions, has been rotten by misappropriation and mismanagement of resources, and has been rotten by being used. Most of the security institutions that we have now, they are operating more or less against the opposition, not really serving the nation itself. And then you also look at almost all the agencies. It is not even almost all the agencies are understaffed. So if you really want to boost the morale, you have to first of all go back to do a massive recruitment. Probably we normally use polling unit, political ward, state constituency, federal constituency, senatorial constituency, gubernatorial constituency in order to recruit for our leadership recruitment. We can use the same systematic approach whereby at every polling unit you can recruit a minimum of 90 to 110. Let's assume 90 youths between the age of 17 to 22 years of age. So if you recruit them, if you recruit 90, if you have 10 polling units in a political ward, you will have 900. 90 times 10 will give you 900. Then if you have 10 political wards, 900 times 10 will give you 9,000. We have 773 local governments in Nigeria, not 74, because one of the local government is still in the Hague. So we are yet to know whether in the ICC we are yet to be certain that the local government belongs to Nigeria or belongs to the other nation. So you can pilot this recruitment within the minimum of 500 or 400 local governments, and distribute them. And in each of these local government, as I mentioned, you will have adequate and enough NCE graduates. You will have adequate and enough diploma graduates. You will have adequate graduates. You will have adequate HND holders. You will have adequate number of masters holders, even if you need masters, and even many of the PhDs are running around without a job to do, and they are willing and they are wishing. So if you do massive recruitment, and then you also look at the environment, operating system of the environment, in a situation whereby most of the staff of the agencies, you give them rifle, but if you can give them a space of 3 seconds to 1 minute, they will start snoring while they are hanging their rifle. Why? Because he didn't sleep well at night. Probably he never had accommodation since he was transferred from Sokoto to Abuja, or from Lagos to Abuja, or from Abuja to Lagos. That is one. Secondly, he has not been having a good sleeping because he has been thinking of his promotion. His promotion was due 3-4 years back. He don't know when the promotion will come. His promotion has been conducted, and yet he don't know when that promotion will be put into action, whereby the increase in salary, whatever allowances, so that he can know that the size of salary he is going to receive is going to be the same amount. Probably he was receiving 100,000 naira or 180 in a month at a time when the fuel price was 194. So now the fuel price have been increased to 617 or thereby. So yet he doesn't have any other economic source. And also, if you go and look at, he is maybe thinking of where his wife slept yesterday, because he is not sure. And probably they were given is 2-bedroom house, but one man was given 1 room, and he was his wife, probably his new wife, has been given 1 room, and he has been posted from Abuja, he has been posted to Sokoto or to Katsina, fighting bandits, or to Niger Delta, fighting the men or IFOB or whatever. So what is happening between this man that is managing 1 room and his wife, especially his new wife? What will happen? The man can be tempted on the wife, the wife can be tempted of the man, or many things. So when you look at their accommodation, their social well-being, their salaries, their promotion, even their uniform. In fact, you also have to modernize the security operating system, because most of the arms that our security personnel are using are outdated. Despite the fact that we don't have adequate, even before we do massive recruitment, if we can modernize the operating system, whereby we get drones, we get other modern equipment. I know General Tukur Buratai have started doing so much in respect to that. So those institutions and those local manufacturing that was reactivated and revalidated by him, like NDIC, they were able to produce as many local equipment as possible. So if we can utilize all those resources, and then the commitment in the process of dealing with those who may be found wanting, committing one offense or another, because all these issues that we have been hearing in the northwest, in the northeast, there have been many who were found among the security agencies personnel. They were found wanting, they will be apprehended, and that's the end of it. Our armory are not in order, theft will be committed, and then you will hear that a committee has been set. That's the end of the story. Right. The military or the security agency will blame Ministry of Finance for not releasing money to them. Ministry of Finance will come before the Senate and the National Assembly and make presentation to clear it very clear, and nobody will be checked. So when we look at all these things, and the corruption within the cycle, and the lack of synergy between the public and the security agencies, because the relationship is just like between that of dog and cat. And as far as the relationship will remain what it is, you will never have it right. And as far as we allow INEC to continue to submit its budget before the National Assembly, before the Senate, before the federal government of Nigeria, under the leadership of the president that is contesting, we will never have the right election. We will never have the credible election, because he will always work hard through budget for release for restoration and whatever to influence the election in his favor and against his opponent.
All right, thank you so much, Dr. Yahuza Getso. It's been great having you break down the issues on security. And as I always like to do on all my programs, I'm always happy to hear solutions, and you've brought quite a lot to the table, and I'm glad to hear that. Thank you so much for coming. Hopefully, if you can still, we'll crave your indulgence at just a moment while we go on a break. But thanks for this segment so far.
Thank you very much.
All right, we'll bring you now a special report, more like a mini documentary on the issue of security across the 63 years of Nigerian independence. This comes to you from Benedict Uku. You'll be seeing Dr. Getso once again on this report, and when we return, the program continues. Our live special telecast on Nigeria's independence. Stay with us. Nigeria continues to battle diverse and high-level security challenges, including Boko Haram terrorism, kidnappings, and crude oil theft. It has also seen the emergence of the Islamic State in West Africa province, ISWAP, herder attacks on farmers, banditry, separatist activities, and other violent attacks. The origin of Nigeria's security woes can be traced back to its post-independence history. Corruption, political turmoil, and a series of military coups have set the stage for the contemporary security landscape. Experts say that distrust provides strong subterranean currents driving insecurity today.
If you look at all the crises, the conflict, inter and intra-conflict that we have been suffering, Nigeria have been experiencing, is simply because of that neo-colonialism and the colonialism period, as well as advancement of taken over by elites in a manner of serving as errand and frontiers for those colonial administrators, and at the same time playing the kind of the game of divide and rule policy. That is it.
Insecurity is a global stuff. I don't think it's something that Nigerians can excommunicate themselves from. But however, to the depth of insecurity in our nation, the causes are numerous. The causes are physical with us: poverty, unemployment. Nigerians have left our per capita development to a deplorable stage where people begin to see crime, people begin to see killings, people begin to see extortion as a way of life to surviving.
The problem we have is politically ethno-religious. There's a political ingredient in it. There's a religious perspective in it. Okay? Of course, there is the ethnic perspective in it. There's even an economic dimension of it.
These problems can also be dated back following the return of democracy to the country, and when crude oil was discovered in the south, gold was discovered in north. The presence of these mineral resources made it attractive to visitors. Some say insecurity is fueled by a struggle for minerals.
It has been discovered very, very long before. The colonial administration, they have it at their own report. So it has been made clearly for how their children will inherit it and how they will pursue it. So it is a common goal they are struggling for. That is why you are having a francophone and anglophone and whatever you may have among the colonial administrators. And now you are having struggle between Eastern Bloc, Western Bloc, the Russia, going by America, the UK, and others. So it is very clear that the vision and mission is to continue to kind of initiate a crisis and a conflict among you. Even though the end of colonialism has ended practically, but in disguise, we are still being colonized, whereby we don't have control of our resources. We don't even have control of our intellects, because a lot of intellectuals are being stolen to the Western world, where they are benefiting.
I would not totally agree that it is totally because of developments, inventions that came up during regarding the oil sector and the mining sector that is causing insecurity. What is majorly causing insecurity in our country is the level of poverty. People are resorting to self-survival that is not productive, but a cankerworm and a devil to the economy.
On terrorism and insurgency, one of the most pressing security challenges is the Boko Haram insurgency, which began in 2002 under the leadership of Mohammed Yusuf. Since 2009, this extremist group has unleashed large-scale violence, resulting in over 35,000 deaths.
When you say Boko Haram, you say, why do you get it in Islam? I never see anything like that. Because I told, like I said, I have been reading, I read nothing less than 1,000 or more than 3,000 Islamic books. And I'm still reading. And I cannot see any scholar who can justify that Boko Haram is part of Islam. Or Islam is part of Islam. It is only a criminal doctrine initiated by either the CIA or the frontiers, the FBI, or those intelligence of the Western world, so that they can be able to sell out their arms and ammunition.
Banditry, initially a rural phenomenon in 2011, has also spread across the nation. Separatist agitations in the southeast and the emergence of groups like IPOB and Yoruba Nation have further fueled the disorder.
But once a country is beginning to be poor and poorer, its citizenry, its membership, its populace will begin to resort to self-survival. And in a country where there is no production level, in a country where there is no SMEs in the country, productivity is in lower level, people will definitely resort to vices that will cause high level of insecurity.
The political scene is not left out, with politicization of insurgency and terrorism giving headroom for rapid expansion and replication.
We've also seen politicians use youths to perpetrate political evils and afterward dump them, bought sophisticated equipment for them to carry out chase political process and get powers for them. Having gotten such powers, they've not gone back to empower those boys meaningfully, so that these boys have resorted using those sophisticated weapons on the people, on even the politicians. So they resort to kidnapping, they resort to all kind of things on our roads. So these have given riser to the level of insecurity in our country.
So when we say political, of course, some people have been using the insurgency and all of that, to campaign, okay, to run down governments. Remember, during the Good Luck era, the Chibok girls was used as a campaign to show that the then Good Luck Ebele Jonathan-led administration wasn't doing well security-wise. So that was political, okay? Now, religious, oh yes, when the insurgency started, it was more or less like a Christian-Muslim thing. They were burning churches, but gradually it drifted away, okay? We now started having cases of mosque too being attacked by the same insurgents.
On the economic impact, the economic repercussions of Nigeria's security are profound. Reports suggest that rising violence has cost the nation 11% of its GDP, equivalent to 119 billion naira. Moreover, numerous projects worth 12 trillion naira have been abandoned due to security concerns. The Global Peace Index for 2021 ranks Nigeria 146th out of 163 countries.
Affects everyone, and we are no different from one of those that have suffered tremendously from insecurity. Farmers are not able to get to their farms to harvest because of insecurity. They had to deal with the issue of banditry, the issue of insecurity from moving from one place to the other, moving from their houses to their farms, being able to harvest the products that they have harvested. They've had to deal with negotiating with bandits to be able to give them access. They are being taxed by bandits before they are allowed to go to their farms. So this, of course, has affected the output tremendously. If you look at the global economy at the moment, you'll see that the global economy is going through a lot of turbulent changes, and Nigeria is no different from any of this group of nations going through some economic upheavals. But be that as it may, I'll say we're doing what we're supposed to do. The government is churning out good policies. The new administration has brought up policies that I think will change our country, will lead us to more economic prosperity.
The Hausa man will tell you that the money from the cottons in the north and the groundnut pyramids was used to build the refineries in the south. And so, of course, they should have a stake in the oil But the question I ask us is this: what stopped us from still allowing the groundnut pyramids to continue even while we had oil? What stopped us from allowing the cocoa and the rubber plantations to continue even when we had discovered oil? So what does it simply tell us? Our leaders lost focus and started gravitating towards a mono economy. So at the end of the day, we are practicing a mono economy and feeling the impact, because everything we are faced on right now is oil, okay? And then every other sector is dormant. And so what's happening? There's too much pressure on the oil sector. So the average Niger Delta man feels that their resources feeding Nigeria. Meanwhile, there are other resources in other parts of Nigeria. Ajaokuta still is lying fallow. Jos Steel is lying fallow. Arewa Textile lying fallow. Benue Cement almost moribund. Okay? And you can go on and on and on and on and on.
According to experts, insecurity affects economic growth by discouraging investments, increasing unemployment, and diminishing government revenue.
There's no one best solution. That's a very complex question. There's no one solution that can solve all of it, because we are faced with myriads of challenges, from robbery to armed banditry, But I think if a concerted effort by all, even the citizens themselves, we have to be conscious of security. We have to be able to work with the security agencies to provide information about the people we live with, our environment. And then, of course, economic situation also breeds insecurity. So once people are gainfully employed, the propensity to go into all sort of activities that are against the law will be reduced. So economic prosperity, one, a consciousness on the part of the citizenry itself in taking care of their own security, charge into their hands, because some of these things, all these people live amongst us. So we must be able to provide information to the security agencies so that they can help ourselves.
The Nigerian government, in a bid to tackle the multifaceted and growing security threats across the country, has invested hugely. Since May 2015, when President Muhammadu Buhari assumed office, the allocation to the defense sector has seen a steady rise running into trillions of naira. Although more budgetary allocations is required, experts argue that more manpower and strategic operations are also needed to address the complex security architecture.
Not just to pump in money, but you have the ability to stand firm to say, whatever it will cost us, we must fight insecurity, is also one thing that is lacking and that should be provided for. It's not just to put in money. If you put in money and buy the gadgets, where are the trainees? Where are the people to handle those gadgets? They need lots of reforms in the security architecture for Nigeria so that they can wage this war and wage it once and for all. So I think it does not only mean or rest in the ability to appropriate or allocate funds, but also the execution model. What are the strategies? What are the model put on ground? What is the plan? What is the structure on ground? I think when these things are put side by side, the fund appropriated, then we'll talk about solving the issues of insecurity.
In a report released by Premium Times, Nigeria spent 4.62 trillion naira on national security in 5 years, making them the second highest spender on defense in Africa after Algeria, allocating trillions of naira to national security.
If you didn't salute a security personnel in Nigeria, you will not condemn him or her for 6 reasons. 1, the environment for which Nigerian security personnel are operating. 2, the types of arms and ammunition which they are using in dealing or chasing or facing the security challenges at hand. Because when somebody is carrying an arm that has been outdated 15 years back, and the criminal is operating with a new version and even more sophisticated arm and ammunition, how do you expect that your own security personnel to be patriotic?
While Nigeria has invested in military modernization and has become the largest importer of military equipment in sub-Saharan Africa, leveraging technology remains vital in fighting against insecurity. Security consultants have recommended the introduction of more uniform organizations.
Pass the bill of Peace Corps to have more manpower. Then again, the uniform voluntary organizations in Nigeria Let them begin to man o' war, Boy Scout, Boys Brigade. All this should be brought together, merge them together, make use of their good numbers. And if there is insecurity, I'm telling you holistically, economic development will blossom.
All the bandits, all the kidnappers in the 8 states that are suffering, that is Kogi, that is Nasarawa, that is Niger, that is Kaduna, that of Sokoto, that of Kano, Jigawa, Kebbi, and Zamfara, all these states that have been suffering, all the bandits, put them together, they are not up to 3,000. So how can you tell me how many military units do we have? How many police division? How many AIGs? How many area commanders? How many divisional police stations do we have? So if at all we are sincere and honest, we will have managed this security.
According to a report released by the Center for Democracy and Development, CDD, last year, at least 60,000 people have been killed in Nigeria's 18 northern states in the last 10 years due to insecurity. Taking a look at how the state of disorder has affected some professions, Abuja residents speak on effects on their businesses.
We're mostly based, an association that mainly comprises of farmers. It has affected us in terms of the high cost of inputs. It has affected us in terms of insecurity. So definitely the output of our members has certainly gone down. And of course, when companies who provide services to our members are faced with economic and harsh realities, that automatically will translate into have an effect on our members as well. So the meltdown has touched everybody. But I'm very confident that Nigeria are very resilient people, and I'm very confident that with the new direction the new government is taking, we will see upbeat is what we will look at.
I don't think the government has really tried. There are a lot of things that the government needs to do. For them to handle insecurity in Nigeria, I think the government needs to talk to community leaders, starting from the emirs down to Meanguas. In every community, the leaders know the people in that community. They can be able to talk to those members of that community to identify those people that are new, those people that are not trusted, or even suspicious people.
Even in Abuja, they are kidnapping. I hear that they kidnap someone in education, they kidnap somebody in is it sports or this thing. So actually, the government, they are trying, but what I want to tell them, what me feel like telling them to do, they should check inside themselves and tell themselves the truth. Let the Nigerian breathe, not to be kidnapping.
However, absolute poverty, illiteracy, and neglect of the youth in many of the northern states created ready pools of recruits that found solace in the use of ammunition. Amidst these challenges, experts emphasize the importance of developing human capital, especially among the youths.
I will tell government to invest massively into education. Education is the bedrock of development. Any form of development you want, the drive force is education. So when I say education, I mean social reorientation. When I say education, I mean value reorientation. When I say education, I mean conventional education. When I say education, I mean vocational education. Government should fight poverty. Government should embrace productivity. When people are busy, they will not be thinking of those vices. Governments must deliberately improve in the architectural system for security. There are technologies that can be deployed, that can do the work as fast as we can think about.
Amidst these challenges, Nigerians hope that the new administration under President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, with the appointment of new service chiefs, will tackle the multifaceted security challenges.
The level of insecurity today needs all hands to come on board, because if the heads of security agencies in this country should decide that insecurity should stop in this country, there are specific areas where these kidnappers operate, and the security agencies knows when they operate. The security agencies should map out strategies to curb that particular territory. Let that be within that territory 24 hours.
As Nigeria celebrates its 63rd Independent Day, the government should look towards addressing numerous challenges of the economy, health, and also addressing insecurity, as they say that burning one's house to smoke out a rat is not a viable solution.
boy, come down! For silently! May I have your permission to carry on with the silent display, Your Excellency?
Welcome back. Now I'll be delving into another sector and another aspect of Nigeria, particularly the education sector. Now, amidst the Independence Day celebration, Lagos state residents have lamented the dwindling state of education sector in Nigeria, stating that it's lagging behind compared to other countries who got independence after Nigeria. Our correspondent Esther Agbo has more.
As Nigeria celebrates its 63rd independence anniversary, some citizens have bemoaned the decay in the education sector, saying after many decades of self-rule, Nigeria has yet to get the system working. Past and present administrations are being accused of neglecting the sector.
Well, I won't lie to you. I think it's premised on the fact that the economic system is has dwindled, and that equally affects the education system in Nigeria. It's not that there are no good products. It's not that there are no bright minds, but the way it is, it chokes life out of the students who want a better life for themselves in terms of educational pursuits. So as it is, the education system, like I said earlier, it's not that there are no bright minds, but the policies affect these bright minds, and they tend to look for greener pasture outside the country.
Let's use the National Bureau of Statistics. You check the number of school children out of school. I'm not the one saying it, but National Bureau of Statistics is saying it. You check the challenges the youth experience in accessing higher education. That tells us where we are. And we talk about the cost of education. Good enough that it has been opened to private investors. People can now open secondary school, universities, and that. But what about the cost? Is it affordable to, ordinary Nigerian? What happens to those intelligent people who don't have the resources to go to those universities? You see them get frustrated, see them doing the things that ordinarily are not supposed to do. Education is really very important in the life of a nation, in the life of a human being, because that is what actually shapes the person. So I am praying and believing that in Nigeria we'll realize the need that we need to be where we're supposed to be after 63 years.
Citizens have urged the government to prioritize education to make Nigeria take its rightful place in global development.
Yeah, one of the brain drain that I would say is, one is the money, funding. So basically, I would say, policy, if the right policy is put in place, there's going to be a right channel. Then if the wrong policies are put in place, then it will lead to brain drain. So it's the wrong policies that leads to, this brain drain that we have today. So if the right policies are made, then definitely everything will move well. So my own take is that the federal government should try as much as possible, put the right policy in place so that it will favor everybody, both the rich and as well as the poor. There has to be an equilibrium in the middle.
Right, the government has not gotten it right. Policy formulation, So sometimes the government will come up with a policy, even resumption dates. Then leadership and good governance. You can't separate the two. It is leadership that brings leadership and good governance, right? It is seen in the quality of infrastructure. It is seen in the quality of education. It is seen in the quality of healthcare delivery. It's seen in the facilities, health facilities. Education does not exist in isolation. Quote me right. We need to calm down. Let's come to ourselves and tell ourselves the very basic truth. Do we need to continue this way in education, in health, in other aspects? Do not forget that the people working in health institutions are a product of your school. So for me, I think we need as a nation to come together Forget about politics. I am not talking politics here. Because if you are a governor, after 8 years of this thing, you leave that place. You become an ordinary person. Maybe your family are not living in their government house, right? So if you are caring for them, there's a need for us to change the narrative.
The degree of brain drain in the education sector is largely blamed on neglect, and respondents have urged the government to pay more attention to it in order to enhance the nation's development. Esther Agbu, reporting for KAFTAN TV.
Now let's take a look at the health sector. We have that Nigerians all over the world are celebrating the 63rd anniversary day. KAFTAN TV spoke to experts in the health sector and citizens on the streets of Abuja to ascertain the improvements of the health sector amidst challenges faced over the past years. Also examined were the requirements to further strengthen the sector. Zainab Akogun tells us more.
Since 1960, Nigeria's health sector has been unstable as a result of lack of good management, ranging from provision of health facilities, employment of experts, amongst others. The sector started with 65 government nursing and midwifery training schools, and in 1946, the Ministry of Health was established to coordinate health services throughout the country. About 70% of Nigerians are living in poverty, whilst critical and essential expenditures capable of contributing to improved public health are often not prioritized. At state level, the less privileged who are cramped in the informal economy are forced to pay tax from their lean resources but see little benefits in terms of healthcare delivery, which results to self-care medications. The inadequate budgetary allocation to healthcare has also significantly influenced recurrent and capital health expenditures. The budget allocation on health has been tremendously low from 2014 and 2020. And from 2016 till date, the healthcare budgetary allocations have always fallen below 15% of the national budget allocation. Speaking to health experts in Abuja on the improvement in health system, Aisha Buka Ali, founder of Diabetes Help and Enlightenment Organization, said health facilities are not sufficient for the population of the country, and also the lack of manpower.
When you look at the health sector, the facilities are not enough. The manpower, that is the doctors, are not sufficient. The little we have who are ready to work are not well taken care of. There's a lot of problem faced by our health sector in terms of the lack of good care to the healthcare management. Because most doctors, you could see on and on, they have a lot of problems. They do a lot of interaction with the government to ensure that they are being taken care of, their welfare to be improved. But the government is not ready to do that, and that is a serious challenge to the country, because that is prompting the doctors and the healthcare workers to live for a better and greener pasture outside the country. Most of our hospitals these days in this country are dilapidated, and they are really very bad condition that the patients and the healthcare workers are finding it a very great challenge to work in that environment and for the patients to get successful and good care, because most of the machines and facilities and equipments that you find in the hospitals are either not working or are not functional, and the doctors, even if have the knowledge to introduce these facilities or to introduce the modern way of treatment, they cannot do it because it is not well managed, and nobody is finding it easy in this modern society to tackle health challenges without intervention of new technology.
Onuche Audu, who is a consultant and gynecologist, said some aspects of the health sector has greatly improved, but others need to be tackled, including adequate provision of facilities, provision of security, maintenance and equipment, while ensuring the welfare of doctors are considered.
Aspects who've evolved, who've improved in the sense that we have some of these equipment and some of these procedures can be done in Nigeria, but the accessibility and availability or widespread across board in the country that can be questionable. And this owes to a lot of factors that I'm sure will handle security issue, make it more conducive for people to practice, not necessarily only in the developed cities or big cities of the country like the capital, Lagos, Abuja and the like. Then of course there should be some form of incentive because people are risking themselves, going far away from their families and all that to go and work in other far places that are being notorious for bandits and kidnapping and all that. So people that risk to go and work in those places, there should be some form of compensation to make it attractive for them to work in those places. And also people that would choose or will be willing to work in rural areas, there should be some form of incentive for them, because people know that, oh, they'll make more money in the cities. Of course, the city will be crowded, but if people know that, okay, you can remain in your state, remain in rural areas, local governments, state capitals and all that, and be well paid and taken care of, then naturally people can consider staying in those places to practice.
Taking a
can also call them Buhari, representing the North Central. Artistic, living in North Central geopolitical zone of Nigeria. Very unique to Baggy women is the placing of boots on their shoulder because they believe the head represents king of the entire body. Hence, it should not be disturbed. Major occupation representing the Northwest region. That is Hausa Fulani, representing the Northwest region. Comprises 6 states. We have the Jigawa, Kano, Katsina, Kebbi, Sokoto, and Zamfara. The economic activities of the zone are mainly farming, fishing, livestock rearing, especially cattle, sheep, and goats. They also involve in industrial activities like mining of limestone in Sokoto, and they are one of the ethnic groups in the country. It will interest you to know that Hausa Fulani from the Northwest are the most populated in Nigeria with 3rd largest landmass. Hausa Fulani for that wonderful performance. Thank you. Next to display will be Yoruba representing Southwest region. That is Yoruba representing the Southwest region. Yoruba speaking state. That is Ekiti, Lagos, Ogun, Ondo, Osun, and Oyo. This zone is endowed with both agricultural and commercial activities. The Yoruba culture also wear the value system that is very important to them. Some of the values include wisdom, integrity, valor, hard work, honor, and wealth. You can see the masquerade in their midst is called Eyo Masquerade. It's a prominent cultural and traditional festival in Yoruba culture. The Eyo Masquerade are considered one of the oldest masquerade traditions in Nigeria and is deeply rooted in Yoruba cultural belief and practice. Your masquerade comes out during special events and occasions such as the one we are witnessing today. The festival is a major event that attracts visitors from all over Nigeria and beyond. Thank you, Yoruba cultural truths. cultural truth. Thank you very much for that wonderful performance. Next will be Tea People of Benue State. That is Tea People of Benue State, also among the middle belt. They depend on agricultural produce for commerce and sustenance. They are prosperous subsistence farmers and traders growing yams, millet, and raising small livestock and cattle among others. The tea national attire is the black and white stripe, reminiscent of the zebra skin. Thank you, Kanuri. Thank you, Benue Cultural Truths. Like Steve from Benue State. Like Steve from Benue State. Thank you, Chief. Guys, Maliki dance we are experiencing right now. The Kanuri people are African ethnic group living largely in the land of Oma Kenya and Borno empires in Nigeria, Niger, Sudan, Libya, and Cameroon. Kanuri language was the major language of the Borno Empire and remained a major language in southeastern northeastern Nigeria and northern Cameroon. Kanuri economy is based on cultural. Besides farming, they engage in weaving and making garments and clothes. The Kanuri people, who are predominantly found in Borno and Yobe State, constitute the second largest ethnic group in northern Nigeria. Thank you, Kanuri Cultural Truth. another wonderful and excellent performance. That is Maliki dance we are witnessing at the moment from Kanuri people representing Northeast region. Next will be Calabar, I also refer to them as Epic, representing South region. Thank you, Kanuri. Next is Calabar Cultural Truth. Representing South region comprising the 6 oil producing states of the Niger Delta, that is Akwa Ibom, Bayelsa, Cross River, Delta, and Edo. The economic activities of the zone include the production of crude oil, limestone and iron ore, farming, fishing, trading, banking, seaport activities, and the rest are the economic activities of this zone. Calabar is one of the major tourism centers in Nigeria, boasting a rich history, beautiful scenery, and great culture. Cultural truth. Thank you. Next, which is the last but not the least, is Igbo representing Southeast region. Thank you, Calabar Cultural Truth. Next is Igbo representing Southeast region. Southeast region comprising the 5 Igbo-speaking states, that is Abia, Anambra, Ebonyi, Enugu, and Imo. Igbo ethnic groups are well known for their enterprising, independent, and adventurous nation. Natively referred to as Indi Igbo, the tribe is popular for its varieties of food, dance, musical instruments, festival and culture. The main economic activity of this zone are farming, mining, heavy trading and local manufacturing in Abia and Anambra states. They are one of the largest ethnic groups in Nigeria. Thank you, Igbo Cultural Truth. Thank you. Thank you, Igbo Cultural Truth, representing the Southeast region. all in commemoration of Nigeria's 63rd Independence Day Anniversary Parade Year 2023. Ladies and gentlemen, the lyrics you are enjoying at the moment by the mass band is inspired by the song Nigeria Yiti Gobowani, meaning Nigeria belongs to us all. Composed by legendary Nigerian musician King Sunny Ade, a classic hit back in the late 80s and early 90s when it was released. Nigeria Yiti Gobowani was loved by all and still cherished to this day by music lovers all over the Southwest. Today, indeed, is a day to remind ourselves of the lyrics of this beautiful song written by a patriotic Nigerian. As we celebrate our independence, it is a clarion call to all Nigerians to continue to support the system and ensure we become a nation that is indivisible despite our heterogeneous disposition. And this can only be achieved through living together as one. Together we can succeed and achieve greater success as a nation. Nigeria belongs to us all. Thank you. Thank you, Gas Brigade Cultural Troops. Please a resounding round of applause for these cultural troops as they have come to perform excellently to entertain the special guest of honor, all in commemoration of Nigeria's 63rd Independence Anniversary Parade Year 2023. Thank you. Nigeria belongs to us all. There's no other place we can call our country. This is our heritage. This is our culture. Thank you. Your Excellencies, senior officers, distinguished invited guests, ladies and gentlemen. Next on our program is the display by the mass band. The mass band will be marching forward to entertain the special guest of honor with different lyrics. on parade today comprise the personnel of the Nigerian Armed Forces and Nigerian Police Force. Advancing squarely towards the special guest of honor to pay compliments before commencing with their display. The mass band on parade today is commanded by Major Ochuku Juju Obi from Army Headquarters Garrison Van, assisted by Squadron Leader Amos Adeyinka Olojude of the Nigerian Air Force Band, Captain Kennedy Bua of Gas Brigade Band, and Assistant Superintendent of Police Abara Moses from Nigerian Police Band. You are witnessing at the moment by the mass band showing this geopolitical zone of our great country, Nigeria. Your Excellencies, distinguished invited guests, ladies and gentlemen, the formation you are witnessing at the moment by the mass band showing the sixth geopolitical zone of our nation, symbolizing the peace, unity, harmony, and mutual coexistence of our great nation, Nigeria. With the band at the center, symbolize the Federal Capital Territory as the seat of power.
Thank you very much. Exciting entertainment. Thank you. Put your hands together for them. Excellent. A round of applause, please. Highly synchronized today.
Say now move back now. I don't know why. Officer and shoot. I don't fight for that. You shoot get that go get your
Dignitaries may please take your seats. Thank you. The three hearty chairs over the national salute, the parade commander, Lieutenant Colonel Moshood Abiodun Yusuf, on the stallion horse, marches towards the sitting position of the very special guest of honor, President Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces, the Federal Republic of Nigeria, His Excellency, to seek his presidential permission to march up the colors and the rest of the parade. We'll hear that shortly. Permission graciously and very diligently sought there and presidentially given by Mr. President. Thus bringing us to the end of this epoch-making occasion of the 63rd Independence Anniversary of our great nation, Nigeria. May I, at this juncture, very diligently and respectfully request the Commander Guards Brigade, Colonel Adebisi Olusegun Onosoya to please request the special guest of honor to sign the anniversary register. The commander, sir. Please, cameraman, can you give us a way there to see? Please, cameraman, please, security, can you get this cameraman organized, please? Get them organized, please. After signing the anniversary register, special guest of honor will proceed to cut the anniversary cake. He will be accompanied by His Excellency the Vice President and the dignitaries, please. The state chief, state protocol, please, to put the dignitaries together, please, for the cutting of the anniversary cake. Cameraman, you are blocking the way, please, please.
This guy can give the cake. He can give the cake. He can give the cake there. I say he can give the cake.
Cameraman, can you pan to one end, please? Please, so that we... Security man, can you get them out of... Please, let us, please, after signing the register, the anniversary cake will be cut by Mr. President. Commander, sir, please. The Vice President, Senate President, Speaker, House of Rep, and other dignitaries, very senior military officers, please, can service chiefs, please, Chief of Defense Staff and service chiefs, may please witness the National Security Advisor, please, and the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, please, the Chairman of the Organizing Committee. Together, please. Put your hands together. The anniversary cake has been cut there. Thank you. Thank you. Next will be the release of the birds of pigeon. Once again, he will be accompanied by the dignitaries. Pigeons are birds of peace, harmony, mutual coexistence in any nation like ours, Nigeria. They fly hard to let the world know that Nigeria is in unfettered, absolute peace around the nation. Today's ceremony is very, very unique. Once again, we want to thank one and all for honoring this invitation. On behalf of the chairman of the Central Planning Committee, who doubles as the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, His Excellency Senator George Akume, members of his Executive Committee, we want to thank one and all, of course, officers and personnel of the Nigerian Armed Forces, the Nigerian Police, and other security agencies. We thank one and all for honoring this invitation. Please, wish one and all on joining messages back to our respective nations, please. Thank you very, very, very much. We thank you on behalf of the chairman. Once again, we want to thank one and all for this great occasion of the 63rd Independence Anniversary Your anchors have been Lieutenant Odunayo Bilkisu Lokodano, the Acting Assistant Public Relations Officer of the Nigerian Army Guards Brigade, and yours very affectionately, Major Paul Esapara, retired formerly of the Directorate of Army Public Relations. Thank you, God bless you, all you and all. Thank you. Thank you. Please, dignitaries should allow the special guest of honor, the Vice President, and other dignitaries to depart the arena before we leave, please. We appreciate your presence. Thank you very much for honoring this invitation. Thank you very much. 63rd Independence Anniversary, symbolically held at the forecourts of the presidential villa. It is abridged, no key. Thank God. You can see the presidential limousine sandwiched there by the bagpipers, taking his leave from the arena. Thank you very much, His Excellency, President Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces, His Excellency Ashiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, Grand Commander of the Order of the Federal Republic. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you. Thank you. Once again, we want to thank one and all for honoring this invitation. The doing of the diplomatic corps.
All right, so you've been watching the Nigerian Television Authority, and we've just seen the end of a very colorful parade, military parade. A number of them have come up. Now let's see.
It's your girl Nkechi Blessing Sunday. I want you all to keep watching KAFTAN TV.
Please keep watching KAFTAN TV. It is the best TV station in the country. They're doing an amazing job. Please do not touch the dial. Keep watching. Thank you.
My name is Sheilo BCFR, the Black Comedian of the Federal Republic. I tell you, when it comes to the best of entertainment, the best of news, the best